Chapter 51, Building an Automatic Defense Armed System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Dong clicked on the drawing and prepared to build it. Survivors, do you need to build an automatic defense armed system? Whether, Chen Dong clicked the Yes button without hesitation, then, the system pops up the materials needed to build an automatic defense armed system, automatic defense armed system drawings. 1/1, steel, 3854/1000, cement, 4853/1000, water, unlimited/1000, crossbow, 50/20, .9 mm bullets, unlimited/100, with sufficient materials, Chen Dong began to build an automatic defense armed system. The drawing shattered, and then a large number of protective devices emerged on the basis of the fortress wall. The top of the wall was covered with barbed wire, and sharp sword blades were inserted one after another. The wall further down was covered with scraps of iron, preventing survivors from trying to climb. Under such protection, if a person's flesh is attached to it with just a little force, a piece of flesh will be torn off. Then, around the camera, miniature gun barrels appeared. When you find an enemy, you can shoot directly, in the courtyard. A row of stone statues appeared out of thin air facing the gate. They have crossbows hidden in their mouths and can shoot continuously to suppress foreign invaders. The most important thing is that Chen Dong discovered that this automatic defense armed system can be upgraded as the equipment is improved. If there are weapons such as automatic machine guns in the future, they can be replaced and upgraded. Chen Dong thought for a moment. From now on, there will be a machine gun next to every camera, shooting at intruders wildly from 360 degrees without blind spots. That picture is simply not too beautiful. The establishment of an automatic defense armed system means that his refuge will be very safe in the future. At least for a short period of time, there is no need to worry about the shelter being invaded by zombies or survivors. If the intruders pass 5 levels and kill 6 generals, and are lucky enough to break through the automatic defense armed system, then Chen Dong's unlimited firepower will be waiting for them. Add Xia Anqi's other pistol, and it's double the joy. Bai Shui looked at the automatic defense armed system built by Chen Dong in stunned silence, her expression changing a little. Is this the gold-level material you brought back? Chen Dong nodded. Yeah, what's wrong? Is there any problem? Bai Shui said seriously. This is not like a good thing that can be found in a gold-level supply box. This must be as rare as a platinum-level supply box. Chen Dong shrugged and said he didn't care. Whatever, I've already used it anyway, so I don't bother paying attention to what level of supplies it is. If it's really as powerful as you say, just think I missed it. Chen Dong took Xia Anqi's arm and walked into the villa. Bai Shui followed behind the two of them, unable to calm down for a long time, and kept mumbling. What a shame. Xia Anqi couldn't understand and felt a little baffled. What's the loss? Chen Dong rolled his eyes at the side and explained angrily, this guy is obsessed with money. She said she lost money. Naturally, she saw that my automatic defense weapon system was too rare and felt that using the usual gold level sell me the material information price. It's a big loss. You think so, Miss Bai? After being exposed by Chen Dong, Bai Shui became even more unhappy. Shutting Bai Shui back into the room, Chen Dong and Xia Anqi began to enjoy dinner. After eating and drinking, I sat on the sofa for a while. Then, Chen Dong went to deliver food. He didn't knock on the door, just opened the door. Then, Chen Dong was dumbfounded. In front of him was a field of white flowers. Ah! Bai Shui yelled in panic. But it was too late. Chen Dong walked into the room and immediately saw Bai Shui, who had just walked out of the bathroom. Although he quickly moved his eyes away, everything he should see and shouldn't have already fallen into his eyes. Bai Shui's mind went blank and she threw the bath towel in her hand. Then he put his hands in front of his body and squatted down. Go out. Truth. Chen Dong came to his senses, grabbed the towel, and tried to walk out, but just as he was about to move on, Bai Shui suddenly stopped him. Wait a minute. Chen Dong decisively stopped, turned around, and looked directly at the other person, unabashed admiration. What's wrong? Bai Shui's teeth were almost bleeding. Leave the towel. Chen Dong looked at the bath towel in his hand, shrugged and tossed it heavily. Then, as if nothing happened, he walked out. As long as I am not embarrassed, others will be embarrassed. Chapter 52 Preparing for the Transaction, Trap. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When the appointed time arrived, Chen Dong took Bai Shui to the appointed place early. It's still this forest, and it's still the familiar big wooden pile. Before departure, Xia and she originally wanted to come with him, but Chen Dong did not agree. Although everything is assumed for the best, there will be any surprises if it is not guaranteed. With this arrangement, even if something happened, he would be able to escape without any scruples. Chen Dong and Bai Shui sat on the wooden piles, chatting with each other to pass the time. After waiting for half an hour, no one was seen. It's been so long, why haven't they come here yet? The time has come. Bai Shui was also sitting on the tree stump, with a puzzled expression. Yeah, I've been waiting for a long time. Bai Shui opened the chat window and muttered, I'm going to ask now. Ding! Chen Dong suddenly received a message. Hello 10086, I'm Black Tiger. We met that day, do you still remember? Presumably, you have arrived at the appointed place now. However, there is one thing I want to tell you first, that is, you were deceived by Bai Xianqing. Seeing this sentence, Chen Dong was stunned for a moment. What does it mean to be cheated on? He vaguely remembered that this Black Tiger was the one who quarreled with Bai Xianxian, and seemed to be the second leader of the team. Chen Dong glanced at Bai Shui and found that she was still chatting with her father, so, he replied silently. What's the meaning? Soon, a response came from Black Tiger. That's the literal meaning. Bai Xianxian, this old fox, has tricked you. There are not just 8 bottles of serum, there are 16 bottles in total. He and I each have 8 bottles. After you left yesterday, he started to say that he would take out the 8 bottles himself. But when he returned to the camp, he put a knife on my neck and asked me to give out 4 bottles too. It's to preserve strength. Fuck me, your daughter is none of my business. Black Tiger's tone was so indignant that he even cursed. It can be heard that he has always been unconvinced by Bai Xianxian. This time, in order to save Bai Shui, he actually wanted to get his hands on the serum in his hand, which Black Tiger couldn't bear. Oh, Chen Dong narrowed his eyes, knowing that there was something in Heihu's words. What do you want to do by saying this? But when Heihu heard that there was something going on, he immediately laughed. It's very simple. Why don't we two do a business? I know you have what it takes. As long as you help me kill Bai Xianxian, not only will I give you his 8 bottles, but I'll give you 2 more bottles. How about that? Is this a good deal? Black Tiger grinned broadly, giving off an aura of banditry. Hearing this, Chen Dong felt hot. 10 bottles of antiviral serum. In such a cruel apocalyptic world, every bottle of serum is an extremely precious treasure. Now, I can get 10 bottles at once. This is simply a windfall. Fortunately, Chen Dong did not lose his mind and calmed down quickly. Is this thing really that simple? Okay, I promise you. Come on, see you later. The next second, Bai Shui suddenly turned her head. Chen Dong, my father and I have already agreed that he will ask Black Tiger to pick us up. What's wrong with you? Your face is so red. Bai Shui noticed Chen Dong's expression and asked curiously. No, it's okay. Chen Dong smiled lightly and suddenly grabbed her wrist. Bai Shui felt pain for a while. Let's go there quickly. You should know the location of Black Tiger, right? Well, my dad has already sent it to me. Bai Shui nodded. However, when she walked behind Chen Dong, a cold light flashed in her eyes. Meanwhile, just on the other side of the woods, Black Tiger and several people have been waiting here for a long time. Brother Tiger, we are ready. Just wait for that grandson to fall into a trap. He must not have imagined that our boss is so smart that he thought he could get 10 bottles of serum for nothing. Several younger brothers were bragging in front of and behind the horse. Black Tiger smiled disdainfully. This kid is so greedy that a snake swallows an elephant. Don't even think about whether you have the ability or not. Okay, quickly pull the can over and get the gas mask ready. Black Tiger waved his hand, and the boys immediately went to drag him. Soon, a jar with a skull and crossbones logo appeared. As soon as Heihu and others saw the jar, they immediately put on gas masks and hid far away. what's inside is the chemical gas they collected. Enough to poison an elephant instantly. This is prepared for Chen Dong. Black Tiger, is the trap ready? Don't let anyone see it. Black Tiger received a message, it was sent by Xian. Don't worry, boss, I'll take care of everything. Rescue Xiaoxue first, and then we'll have his good harvest. All of this is by Xian's conspiracy. He asked Black Tiger to contact Chen Dong and pretend that there was internal strife in the team, making Chen Dong think that he could benefit from it. In fact, the trap has been set long ago, just waiting for Chen Dong to jump in by himself. Chapter 53, Counterattack, Antiviral Serum Obtained. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Good job. When we rescue Xiaoxue, let her take us to the villa. Villa. Everyone drooled when they heard these two words. The reason they went to such great lengths was that, Bai Shui said that Chen Dong lived in a luxurious villa with electricity and water, and there was a beautiful woman. Brother Tiger, they seem to be coming. He who heard footsteps over there and hurried away from the gas pit, he walked forward a few steps and saw the figures of Chen Dong and Bai Shui. This way. He who waved his hand quickly, Chen Dong nodded and walked straight over. Hey who, I have brought the person here. Where is the promised thing? What? What are you talking about? Bai Shui frowned, as if she realized something was wrong. The next second, He who took out 2 bottles of serum, and He who also had a painful expression. Hey who, you, what do you want to do? Where's my dad? Why didn't he come? He who blinked at Bai Shui and said with a smile, Miss Bai, stop yelling. Can't you see the situation? 10086 and I have joined forces. I will let you meet your dad later. But when the time comes, you will go to hell together. As soon as these words came out, Bai Shui's face turned pale. How is it possible? Hey who, you traitor. Bai Shui wanted to curse a few more words, but she was taped by several younger brothers and couldn't say a word. Then, Bai Shui was dragged back by them. Why are there only 2 bottles? Chen Dong weighed the serum in his hand and frowned. Brother, why are you in a hurry? The remaining 8 bottles are still in Bai Xianqing's hands. I paid you these 2 bottles in advance. After killing Bai Xianqing, all his serum will be given to you. He who patted his chest, as if he was responsible for me. The next second, he suddenly put his arm around Chen Dong's shoulders. Let's go, there are too many people here, let's go over there and talk. Bai Xianqing is not that easy to deal with, he has a lot of tricks. Chen Dong nodded slightly, a cold light flashed in his eyes. Okay, let's have a good chat. On the other side, Chen Dong and He who walked deep into the woods. Several brothers quickly untied Bai Shui's seal and the rope on her hands. Sister Shui, are you okay? No. Bai Shui smiled contemptuously, she returned to her cunning appearance at the beginning. This 10086, I thought he was so smart. But he couldn't sit still when he heard about 10 bottles of serum. Just a straw bag. Hearing this, several brothers nodded in agreement. Okay, let's go back to the camp. Take people and occupy 10,086's villa. On the other side of the woods, He who pulled Chen Dong to a certain place. Suddenly a whistle was blown, and 3 or 4 people came out of the woods. Chen Dong frowned. He who, what do you mean? Several people quickly surrounded Chen Dong. He who stood in the middle, with a strange smile on his face. What do I mean, can't you see it? I'm going to kill you. Chen Dong smiled faintly after saying this. Just you? Of course not, He who said while asking his younger brother to bring the gas canister. I know you are very skilled, but you can't be immune to all poisons, right? Seeing Chen Dong's embarrassment, the younger brothers also laughed. Then, one after another put on the gas mask. However, just when He who took out the gas mask, he suddenly widened his eyes. Fuck, my mask. At that moment, Chen Dong actually snatched his mask away. You. He whose head buzzed, and he waved quickly. Quick, turn off the poison gas. Unfortunately, it was too late. Chen Dong blew up the gas tank directly, and the poison gas spread rapidly. He who fell to the ground instantly. he just inhaled a little bit, and he foamed at the mouth and his limbs twitched. In a few seconds, he rolled his eyes directly. The remaining brothers also panicked. They were all wearing masks, and they didn't know which one was Chen Dong. However, Chen Dong knew very well, except for himself, the rest were all enemies. That's all you can do. You dare to come and die. A few minutes later, Chen Dong walked out of the woods and threw away the mask. He saw the rope on the ground and knew that Bai Shui and others had not gone far, so he hurriedly followed their footsteps. Sure enough, not far away, a wooden house loomed. The voices of Bai Shui and Bai Xianqing came from inside. "Dad, I'm back." "Xiao Shui, are you okay?" "No, thanks to Big Brother Heihu, that 10086 is really a fool." Bai Xianqing smiled faintly, looking at Bai Shui with admiration. Afterwards, he immediately contacted Heihu to ask, but he was shocked to find that the other party's account had been cancelled. There is only one possibility in this situation, that is, Heihu is dead. What's going on? Heihu's account. Sorry, he is dead. Hearing this familiar voice, Bai Xianqing was stunned. The moment he raised his head, his whole body shuddered, as if he had seen a ghost. How are you still alive? Could it be said that Black Tiger failed? That the person who came was none other than Chen Dong. Chen Dong smiled disdainfully, in full view of everyone. He walked straight in. Seeing this situation, everyone felt as if they were facing a powerful enemy. It's a pity. Who are Chen Dong's opponents? Within a few minutes, they were all solved. Only Bai Xianxian and Bai Shui were left. 10086. I didn't mean to lie to you. It's all Black Tiger's fault. It has nothing to do with me and my dad. Now that things have happened, Bai Shui still wants to shirk responsibility. It was clear that she and Heihu colluded to set a trap for Chen Dong and also expose the location of Chen Dong's villa, and everyone who knows the villa, there is only one way to die. It's too late to say this now. Chen Dong ignored the pleas of the father and daughter and directly solved the problem with 2 swords. Afterwards, I rummaged through the boxes and cabinets and finally found the remaining 6 bottles of serum. Damn, there are still only 8 bottles. Forget it, that's enough. After finding the serum, Chen Dong returned directly to the villa. From now on, their security is much improved. If you are bitten by a zombie, just inject the serum directly. Chapter 54. Zhang Zihao tore his face off and used force. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just when Chen Dong successfully obtained the antiviral serum, Zhang Zihao finally waited for his lackey, Ergu. On this day, he waited too long. Ergu rushed for several days without stopping, and one night, he sent a message. Mr. Zhang, I'm here, resting in a small shop 500 meters away from you. When will we meet? Zhang Zihao was about to go to bed, and after receiving the text message, he was so excited that he almost jumped up, but he still suppressed his excitement. Stay where you are, I'll come right over. Zhang Zihao slept alone on the sofa. When it was time to rest at night, Tian Xiaoyu usually locked the door, so, Zhang Zihao walked out of the small shabby house where they lived without alarming the other party. After walking a little further, Zhang Zihao started running and soon came to the small shop that Ergu mentioned. Ergu. Ergu heard a familiar voice outside the house and ran out of the house excitedly. Big brother. Zhang Zihao patted Ergu on the shoulder and laughed. Not bad, not bad, with your help, I will definitely control Tian Xiaoyu, the bitch, this time. Ergu echoed with a fake smile and said, as long as you are happy, big brother. Ergu, you really helped me a lot this time. I, Zhang Zihao, have decided that you are a good brother. Ergu looked at the happy Zhang Zihao and said with a smile, Mr. Zhang, as long as you can use me, I am willing to do it for you even if I risk my life. Zhang Zihao made a prompt decision. Okay. In this case, Ergu, tomorrow we will go to find Tian Xiaoyu, the bitch. You should rest here tonight, and when we subdue Tian Xiaoyu tomorrow, I will definitely relieve your heat. Ergu quickly declined. Mr. Zhang, I don't need it, just enjoy it yourself. Zhang Zihao gave a thumbs up. Sensible. Then I will go back first and come to see you tomorrow. Ergu nodded. Okay, Mr. Zhang, you go back first and have some rest. Zhang Zihao returned to the shelter. looked at Tian Xiaoyu's room with the door closed, and sneered secretly. The next morning, Tian Xiaoyu was sitting in the living room eating bread, and Zhang Zihao walked in with Ergu. Tian Xiaoyu found out that Zhang Zihao was missing early in the morning. Seeing him walk in with a stranger, he was alert to the highest level and was very nervous. Zhang Zihao, who is he? I remember we made 3 rules, and we are not allowed to bring in strangers casually, right? Zhang Zihao shook his head and smiled. Xiaoyu, he is not a stranger, but my good brother Ergu. We are just reunited after a long time. So what? What do you mean? Zhang Zihao sat down on the sofa opposite Tian Xiaoyu, picked up the bread on the table, and chewed slowly. What do I mean, don't you understand? Tian Xiaoyu had a bad feeling. I really don't understand what you mean. Zhang Zihao said with a tut-tut sound, do you really not know, or are you pretending not to know? I have wanted to have sex with you for a long time. Oh, I should be pretending. After all, when you were chatting with Chen Dong, you laughed so hard that water almost came out, right? Ha ha ha. Tian Xiaoyu raised her voice and shouted coldly, Zhang Zihao, you should be more respectful. Is this the so-called upbringing of a rich young man? Zhang Zihao spread his hands and laughed indifferently. Rich? Who cares? Coming to this doomsday world, maybe my family will be eaten by zombies. Now, I just want to strip you, Tian Xiaoyu, naked, and send the video to Chen Dong to see how embarrassing it is when you scream. Ergu, do it. Ergu, who was standing behind Zhang Zihao, took action. Tian Xiaoyu didn't expect that this unremarkable guy would act so quickly, but she was always on guard. She took out the pistol from her backpack first. Zhang Zihao, who was sitting opposite Tian Xiaoyu, was startled. Gun. Tian Xiaoyu was in a panic and failed to aim, so she fired directly at Zhang Zihao. Zhang Zihao was hit in the shoulder and screamed in pain. In this short moment, Ergu had already rushed to Tian Xiaoyu. Caught off guard, Tian Xiaoyu's pistol was knocked to the ground, but she did not hesitate, and then rolled sideways off the sofa and took out the crossbow. Ergu, who was running towards Tian Xiaoyu, had no intention of dodging at all, and immediately took out a shield to block the arrow. There was a wall behind Tian Xiaoyu, and she couldn't find a place to hide for a while. Suddenly, he remembered that he had collected a set of combat uniforms some time ago, and hurriedly took it out of his backpack. Just when the combat uniforms were just put on, Ergu's shield followed and hit the combat uniforms hard. Zhang Zihao covered his shoulders and looked at Tian Xiaoyu in the combat uniforms in disbelief. Is this Iron Man? Tian Xiaoyu put on the combat suit, but she didn't feel good. She was hit hard by the shield and felt dizzy and wanted to vomit. Ergu continued to hit the tightly fitted and bulletproof combat suit. When he slowly retreated, Tian Xiaoyu was already dizzy in the combat suit and barely stood firm by holding the wall. Zhang Zihao rushed over and kicked Tian Xiaoyu down with all his strength. He then used his other hand to hit Tian Xiaoyu with a wooden stick and knocked her unconscious. Tian Xiaoyu's eyes went black and she lost consciousness. Zhang Zi was still not satisfied, so he kicked twice again, cursing, damn this bitch, I don't know when she got a pistol. It hurts so much, it must be that poor Chen Dong who gave it to her. Damn. Ergo walked over and looked at the gunshot wound on Zhang Zihao's body. Young Master Zhang, let me treat your wound first. Zhang Zihao shook his head, looking at Tian Xiaoyu who fell to the ground. He ordered, don't worry, go and tie up Tian Xiaoyu, the bitch, and don't let her run away. Ergo nodded, took out the chain and tied Tian Xiaoyu tightly, and hung her hands on the beam. Tian Xiaoyu was hung up. Afterwards, Ergo took out alcohol and bandages from his backpack. Young Master Zhang, it may hurt a lot, you bear it. Zhang Zihao gritted his teeth and said, damn it, hurry up, it's better to suffer a short pain than a long one. Ergo nodded, cleaned a dagger with alcohol, inserted it into Zhang Zihao's wound and took out the bullet. In the end, Zhang Zihao overestimated himself and fainted after a howl. Chapter 55, The Invulnerable Uniform. The meat at your fingertips cannot be eaten. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian Xiaoyu woke up, looking out the window. It was already late at night, and I seem to have been dizzy all day. Later, Tian Xiaoyu found that he was tied into a ball with strong chains, his hands were hung up, and there was no way to take out other supplies to deal with the predicament. Zhang Zihao woke up early. He and Ergu have been studying how to open the battle uniform on Tian Xiaoyu, but no matter how you do it, it's all in vain in the end, no way to start. Zhang Zihao was so angry that his teeth itched with hatred. Tian Xiaoyu finally got it, but because of a shabby battle uniform, he could only stare and couldn't eat anything. Ergu asked, "Boss, do you want to try another method?" Tian Xiaoyu snorted coldly. "I advise you not to waste your efforts. This uniform is invulnerable and there is nothing you can do about it." Zhang Zihao smiled. He walked up to Tian Xiaoyu and said coldly, "Tian Xiaoyu, you can do it. However, I have changed my mind. I want to give you to the boss of the Wild Wolf Group as a meeting gift to let them accept me." The Wild Wolf Group is a recently emerging team in their area, and it is also the team that Zhang Zihao has always wanted to join. Tian Xiaoyu was a little disdainful. "So what about the Wild Wolf Group? They can't open my suit, what can you do to me?" Zhang Zihao laughed. "Tian Xiaoyu, the resources of the Wild Wolf Group are beyond your imagination. When the time comes, we will naturally have a way to get you out." Tian Xiaoyu was a little flustered and asked, "Zhang Zihao, you keep saying you like me, is this your attitude?" Zhang Zihao became furious after hearing this. "You have no right to tell me your attitude. You bitch, all you can think about is Chen Dong. I understand now that it doesn't matter if I get you or not. What I want is for Chen Dong to feel uncomfortable. I want him to be helpless and furious when he sees you being ruined. Ha ha ha, I feel so happy just thinking about it." "Crazy, you are crazy." Zhang Zihao asked Ergu to bring over a wooden stick. He wants to knock out Tian Xiaoyu and bring over the boss of the Wild Wolf Group, who has defected to the Wild Wolf Group. Tian Xiaoyu had no way to resist and could only send a voice message to Chen Dong before being knocked unconscious. "Chen Dong, save me." When he woke up again, Tian Xiaoyu was no longer in the original small shabby house, but was replaced by a huge warehouse. What remains unchanged is that Tian Xiaoyu is still bound by chains. "Hey, little beauty is awake." A man with one eye spotted Tian Xiaoyu waking up from his slumber and came closer, grinning and showing his big golden front teeth. This man is the boss of the Wild Wolf Group, Wild Wolf. When Tian Xiaoyu was in coma, Zhang Zihao and Ergu had already brought her to the Wild Wolf Group and presented her to the Wild Wolf as a certificate of submission for them to join the Wild Wolf Group. Zhang Zihao followed behind him at this time and said with a smile, "Boss, you have seen the photos I took of this girl. Only such a top-quality product can be worthy of you." The Wild Wolf suppressed his smile. "In the photo you showed me, can I see the face clearly?" "I can see a few of them clearly when I secretly took the photo from such a distance. However, the figure does look very good." Zhang Zihao pointed at Tian Xiaoyu, who was wearing a battle uniform, patted his chest and promised, "Boss, I guarantee with my life that this woman will never let you down." The Wild Wolf snorted coldly and said, "I'm sorry you don't dare to lie to me. If you dare, I will kill your head directly." Zhang Zihao smiled and said, "Of course not, I am loyal to you, boss, and I will only give you good things." The Wild Wolf patted Tian Xiaoyu's uniform helmet, a little impatiently. "But, you brought this iron lump back on horseback, are you embarrassing me?" Zhang Zihao did not expect that the battle uniform Tian Xiaoyu was wearing would be so difficult to handle. "Even if you come to the Wild Wolf Group, there is no way to solve it." Facing the wolf's accountability, Zhang Zihao kept bowing and apologizing, and kept explaining to him. "Boss, I really didn't expect that this stinky bitch had been hiding her secrets in the past and had such a suit of armor that was invulnerable. That's why I was careless and let her wear the suit." The Wild Wolf glanced at him sideways and asked, "Then is there any way you can get her out?" Zhang Zihao rolled his eyes, and then said, "Boss, since we can't open the suit through external force, then we might as well starve this bitch for a few days and let her open it by herself." When the Wild Wolf heard this, he slapped Zhang Zihao on the forehead. "Are you being careless? If this bitch would rather die of hunger and thirst than open her battle uniform, what use do I need from her, and what use do I need from you?" Zhang Zihao was so beaten that stars appeared in his eyes, but he did not dare to get angry. "Boss, We just need to put food and water in front of her every day to constantly stimulate her instinctive desire to survive. I don't believe she can withstand it for a few days, Wild Wolf thought for a while. There is really no other better way now but this. Okay, just do as you say. If you can't handle it, I'll take it from you. Zhang Zihao couldn't help but nod. Yes, boss, don't worry. Tian Xiaoyu could hear Yelang and Zhang Zihao's loud conspiracy clearly. You can't even think of making me surrender in this way. Even if I die, I won't let you succeed. Wild Wolf looked at Tian Xiaoyu, looking up and down. Little hoof, you really might as well just obey my brother now. My brother promises you that if you become my woman, you will not have to worry about food and drink, and I will never let you be bullied. Why should you suffer and starve? Tian Xiaoyu snorted and said harshly, you speak better than singing. You and Zhang Zihao are just birds of a feather. Wild Wolf cursed and left the warehouse with Zhang Zihao, but before leaving, he said something to Zhang Zihao, which Tian Xiaoyu also heard. It was frightening and disgusting. If it doesn't work, just starve to death. It's not a bad idea to eat while it's hot. Tian Xiaoyu was a little tearful. I really regret it. I was worried that abandoning Zhang Zihao might make him homeless and eventually eaten by zombies, but I didn't expect that it was because of my pity that Zhang Zihao had an opportunity to take advantage of me. Now, I have become a prisoner and may even be defiled at any time. Ding. 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 At this time, she noticed that Chen Dong sent her many messages after she fell into a coma. After receiving the message for help, Chen Dong immediately asked about the details, but every message he sent fell into the sea. If Tian Xiaoyu's account had not been showing normal, he would have even thought that the other party had been killed. No response, no specific location, could only keep sending messages. Tian Xiaoyu's hands were hung, unable to take out the supplies in the backpack. Fortunately, the chat window pop-up can be done with just the mind. Seeing the historical message sent by Chen Dong, Tian Xiaoyu calmed down a little. What happened? Did Zhang Zihao attack you? Where are you now? Received, please reply. Chapter 56 Ask Chen Dong for help and set fire to the camp. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian Xiaoyu cannot type now and can only send voice messages. Chen Dong, I fainted before, but it will be safe for a while now. Chen Dong finally breathed a sigh of relief after receiving the message, then asked, what happened? Tian Xiaoyu told the truth. I don't know when Zhang Zihao found his former friend. I think his name is Ergu. This morning at the shelter, Zhang Zihao officially showed me his cards and wanted to do something to me. I shot his shoulder with a gun while he wasn't paying attention, but that Ergu was very strong and I was quickly subdued by him. After that, the two of them took me to the Wild Wolf group to dedicate me to the boss. Now I am locked up in a warehouse. I don't know where exactly. Chen Dong frowned when he heard the voice. He also knew this Ergu. His real name is Go Dongxi, and he was very close to Zhang Zihao back then. It is simply a model for Zhang Shaoxiang to bear the burden of difficulties and to bear the burden of blessings. What about you, how's it going? Tian Xiaoyu quickly sent a string of voice messages. I'm fine. I'm wearing a battle uniform I collected. It's invulnerable. They can't take it off for the time being. However, Zhang Zihao suggested to the Wild Wolf that he starve me for a few days and let me take it off by myself. Chen Dong sneered, this kind of selfish villain shouldn't live in this world. Tian Xiaoyu then said, Chen Dong, I have a very excessive request. I want you to come and save me. I can use this battle uniform as a reward. Of course, if it's too dangerous, don't come. I don't want to get you involved. What a coincidence, the antiviral serum has been obtained, and Chen Dong was planning to make a trip to deal with Zhang Zihao. Chen Dong nodded in agreement. Okay, send me the coordinates and I'll go and rescue you. But make it clear beforehand that if it's too dangerous, I'll turn around and leave. Okay? Tian Xiaoyu quickly replied, with your words, I can rest assured. I will send you the coordinates right away. Chen Dong frowned slightly when he received the coordinates. Unexpectedly, the Wild Wolf group was so far away from the villa area where he was. Xiao Yu, the distance between you and me is almost hundreds of kilometers, which is a bit far. Even if I drive at full speed, it will take half a day. During this time, you have to adapt to your circumstances and wait for me. Tian Xiaoyu sent a voice message. Okay, then I'll wait for you. I'm being locked up in the warehouse by them. I'm not in danger for the time being. Please be careful. Chen Dong closed the chat window and began to sort out combat supplies and check the car tire pressure. Seeing this, Xia and she asked, "What's wrong? Is there something urgent?" Chen Dong said helplessly, "I had an enemy in college, and now I have gone over to solve it. I also saved a classmate by the way. Is she the girl you often donate supplies to?" Chen Dong nodded while filling up the car's gas tank. Xia and she also took out a pistol. "I'll go with you. One more person will give you more strength." Chen Dong did not agree and explained, Tian Xiaoyu was caught in the Wild Wolf group. That team has been in the limelight recently. I can't guarantee your safety. But I'll go by myself. The worst I can do is use stealth to escape. Just don't go and wait for news from me at home. Xia and she pursed her lips. That's okay, but if something goes wrong, you must contact me. Chen Dong touched Xia and she's hair, sat in the driver's seat of the car, and started the car. In peaceful times, 100 kilometers might take just over an hour, but in this apocalyptic world full of zombies, you need to be careful to avoid them. When he arrived at the Wild Wolf Group stronghold, it was already late at night. Chen Dong did not alert the snake, but turned off the car a few kilometers away and walked forward. There are many guards at the stronghold of the Wild Wolf Regiment, and there are even sentry posts every 10 steps. Obviously, the scale has exceeded by Shui's team by a lot. Chen Dong didn't know what the Wild Wolf looked like, so he had no way of catching the thief first. Therefore, he chose the most direct method, arson. Today it's Lao Li's turn to guard the door. Also with him was his roommate Chen. The two of them were already very sleepy, but there is no way, who let them draw lots and get their turn to be on duty late at night. Lao Li yawned, scratched his butt, and said to Chen, "Hey, there are so many mosquitoes tonight." But he didn't hear Aiken's response. Turning his head, he saw Chen covering his neck and unable to make any sound. Seeing Aiken spurting blood from his neck and then dying, Lao Li's eyes widened in horror. "Next, you need to pull the bronze bell next to it." But then he felt that a pair of invisible hands seemed to cover his mouth and nose, making him unable to breathe. Then, my neck felt a little hot. His consciousness began to blur. Chen Dong let go of the two dead gate guards without removing his invisibility. He took out 2 cans of gasoline, poured them quietly on the ground, and spread them on the ground from outside to inside. In the dormitory of the Wild Wolf Group, many people have gone to bed, but there are still some young people who can't sleep at night and get up. A few people secretly held flashlights and flipped through a somewhat worn comic book banned under the 18th ban. I watched it with gusto, and from time to time I lowered my voice and exclaimed, just when everyone was immersed in the blood-swelling scenes in the 18 ban comic book. One of them suddenly said, "Did you smell the smell of gasoline? It's so strong." Everyone heard this and sniffed. "It seems to smell like gasoline. Hey, it's something. Maybe there's an oil leak somewhere. Why don't you read the book? If you don't, go to bed." The man from earlier was furious. "Damn it, the book still belongs to me, you still want to kick me out? Hurry up and make room." A group of people then studied it very devotedly. Suddenly, a person shouted, "Damn it. That's not right. How many handfuls of gasoline do we have here? No, there's something wrong." Only then did everyone come back to their senses and prepare to go out to check. Boom. Before they could walk out, they heard a loud noise. "It's a grenade." Immediately afterwards, blazing flames began to burn and quickly spread throughout the stronghold. "Fight the fire," everyone shouted, waking up the other members of the Wild Wolf team who were sleeping. Seeing the fire ignited in his home, he didn't have time to think too much and ran away in a hurry. At this juncture, when supplies are in short supply, everyone naturally goes their separate ways when a disaster strikes. How can they use precious water resources to put out the fire? Chen Dong, the initiator of everything, activated his concealment skills, flexibly shuttled among the chaotic crowd, and constantly searched every room. At this time, he discovered that on the balcony of the two-story small Western-style building in the center of the Wild Wolf Regiment's stronghold, there was a bald man with a blind right eye. He was shouting at the fleeing Wild Wolf Regiment members below. "You sons of bitches, go away and put out the fire quickly. Water is nothing. If it's gone, you can find it again. If the stronghold is gone, why are you camping in the wild? Waiting to be eaten by zombies. Chow your grandma, yes, put out the fire quickly." Many members of the Wild Wolf Regiment who were originally fleeing actually took out water to put out the fire under the angry scolding of the bald man. Wild Wolf, Chen Dong was probably certain that this bald man was the boss of the Wild Wolf group. He started running towards the small Western-style building. Chapter 57. Take action yourself, and evil will be punished. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, the Wild Wolf has returned to the house and is packing up all the supplies that can be taken away from the house, although he said that he would let the members of the Wild Wolf group put out the fire at their own risk, but he still cleaned up his things in advance. Seeing that the fire was not going well, I plan to abandon this group of cannon fodder and run away. At this moment, he suddenly saw a black figure behind him, gradually approaching him. The Wild Wolf didn't hesitate. He pulled out the crossbow and fired it back, but when he turned around, he didn't dare to take action. Chen Dongjing held up the P92 pistol and pointed it at his head. The Wild Wolf knelt directly on the ground, threw away the crossbow arrow, and forced a smile. "Hero, tell me what you have to say." "No, don't wield swords and guns. Whatever supplies you want, as long as I have them, you can take them as you please." Chen Dong didn't waste any time and asked directly, "Let me ask you, where is Tian Xiaoyu?" The Wild Wolf was stunned. "Who is Tian Xiaoyu? I don't know you." Boom. The Wild Wolf screamed miserably. His knee was shot to pieces by Chen Dong. The Wild Wolf hurriedly said, Hero, I really don't know who Tian Xiaoyu is." "Hero, spare your life." Chen Dong frowned. "You should know Zhang Zihao, right? Where is the woman he brought?" The Wild Wolf cried sadly, scolding the 18th generation of Zhang Zihao's ancestors in his heart. "Damn, it turns out this woman's name is Tian Xiaoyu, a disaster star, a real disaster star. But the Wild Wolf is very honest. Hero, if I tell you the location of that woman, can you let me live?" Chen Dong said coldly, "You'd better tell the truth, and I can consider letting you live." The Wild Wolf kowtowed, shouted thank you to the hero, and then told Tian Xiaoyu's location. "That woman is in the big warehouse on the right, only 100 meters away from here." Boom. After Chen Dong knew Tian Xiaoyu's location, he shot the Wild Wolf in the head. The Wild Wolf opened his mouth slightly, looked at Chen Dong, and finally fell down weakly. Chen Dong said calmly, "I thought about it and decided to kill you." Then, rushed to the warehouse where Tian Xiaoyu was. In the abandoned warehouse, Zhang Zihao ordered Go Dongxi to pick up Tian Xiaoyu. He was going to take advantage of the chaos and run away. Just now, when the Wild Wolf Group's stronghold was in chaos due to an inexplicable fire, Zhang Zihao ran out with Go Dongxi. He originally thought that if he came to the Wild Wolf Group and offered Tian Xiaoyu, he would be able to enjoy the food and drink spicy food. Unexpectedly, because the Wild Wolf couldn't sleep with Tian Xiaoyu, he took out his anger on him and made him sleep in a dormitory and eat low-quality bread. How could he endure such a living environment? Although there were not many supplies before, Tian Xiaoyu bought a lot of delicious food from Chen Dong. Seeing Tian Xiaoyu struggling continuously, Zhang Zihao snorted coldly. "Xiaoyu, stop struggling. I really can't bear to give you up to the wild wolves. It's too cheap for you. I want to be your first man, and then hang you on the chat channel in exchange for supplies, ha ha ha." Tian Xiaoyu cursed angrily, "Zhang Zihao, you are a pervert, you madman." Zhang Zihao raised his head and laughed. "Am I crazy? No, I'm not crazy. If I can't win your heart, then I will destroy you. Do you like Chen Dong? Then guess, does Chen Dong like to have his crotch ridden by thousands of people? I'm really looking forward to it. Ah." Zhang Zihao, Zhang Zihao heard a strange but familiar voice coming from behind him and turned to look. Chen Dong rushed to the warehouse gate, happened to hear Zhang Zihao's confession, and walked over angrily. Zhang Zihao saw Chen Dong, and even saw the pistol in Chen Dong's hand, and his liver and gallbladder were split. Chen Dong raised his pistol, pointed it at Zhang Zihao, and walked forward quickly. Zhang Zihao, you bastard! Boom! Boom! 2 gunshots were fired. Go Dongshi looked at the 2 bullet holes in his body and turned around with difficulty. Using his last strength, he yelled at Zhang Zihao, run! At the moment Chen Dong fired, Go Dongshi, who was standing nearby, rushed forward and blocked Zhang Zihao's fatal shot. Zhang Zihao was stunned for a moment and glanced at Go Dongshi, who fell to the ground. Then, he ran away without looking back. Go Dongshi fell in a pool of blood. Looking at Zhang Zihao, his consciousness gradually blurred. Zihao. It's such a pity that I can't be with you, together. Go Dongshi stretched out his hand towards Zhang Zihao's trembling escape, and then lowered it weakly. He died. Chen Dong quickly stepped forward to help Tian Xiaoyu up and asked with concern, Xiaoyu, are you okay? Tian Xiaoyu nodded. I am fine. Then, she grabbed the P-92 pistol from Chen Dong's hand and fired 1 shot at Zhang Zihao. Zhang Zihao just panicked and ran straight back, but they didn't realize that this huge warehouse had only 1 door. That was the direction Chen Dong came from. After being shot, Zhang Zihao was in so much pain that he couldn't stand up. Tian Xiaoyu walked over slowly and raised his pistol. Zhang Zihao was so frightened that his face turned pale and he burst into tears. Xiaoyu. I just lost my mind and said nonsense. We are classmates for 4 years in college. Chen Dong, please help me to speak. I don't want to die. Please, spare my life. Tian Xiaoyu roared angrily and pulled the gun. Zhang Zihao screamed and peed his pants in fear, but then he found that he was not injured. I am not dead. Zhang Zihao hurriedly looked back, not caring too much, dragging his injured leg and limping towards the gate. Tian Xiaoyu was a little annoyed. Her shooting skills were too poor. The last shot, she did not hit Zhang Zihao, but hit the sand pile next to him. Almost there. As he was about to reach the warehouse gate, Zhang Zihao's eyes showed a strong desire to survive. Soon, he could escape. If he escaped, he would not have to die. Bang! Another gunshot shattered his dream. Zhang Zihao felt a sharp pain in his heart and fell in front of the warehouse gate. His gradually dim eyes were full of unwillingness. Just 1 step away. Tian Xiaoyu put down the pistol and turned her head away, feeling a little complicated. It is not an easy thing to shoot at former classmates, but she also knew that Zhang Zihao deserved to die for what he did to her. Moreover, this cruel world does not tolerate women's mercy. Seeing this scene, Chen Dong sighed beside him. Let's go. The 2 left, 2 people also stayed here, and all of this will be swallowed up by the spreading fire. Chapter 58, Loot, Astronomical Telescope, Underground Fortress Blueprints. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The leader of the Wild Wolf group, Wild Wolf, was shot dead in the bedroom by Chen Dong, and no one knew about it, until the fire spread so fast that it could not be extinguished. The Wild Wolf group's dog-headed military advisor hurriedly wanted to call the boss to run away, only to find that his boss had been shot in the head at some point. Such a news surprised him a little. But more of it was that it had nothing to do with him and he didn't care. After all, he couldn't protect himself now. If he wasn't afraid of being held accountable in the future, he would have run away with the bucket like other members. How could he risk his life to find the boss? The military advisor walked in front of the Wild Wolf without any taboos, squatted down and searched for supplies. Unfortunately, Chen Dong had already gotten there first. After shooting the Wild Wolf, he received the supplies as soon as possible, and then he went to the warehouse to rescue Tian Xiaoyu. The military advisor looked around but couldn't find any valuable supplies, and he felt a little unhappy. He looked at the Wild Wolf lying on the ground and kicked him hard. Damn it, you're a piece of shit. You're always so arrogant in the Wild Wolf group, but you got shot in the head and can't even keep your supplies. Bah, you're worse than a wild wolf or a wild dog. What bad luck. After the military advisor finished cursing, he spitted a little on his hands and shook them, just to get rid of the bad luck of searching for the dead man's money just now. Afterwards, he didn't stay too long and left directly and fled the scene. After the wild wolf died, this situation happened in various places in the wild wolf group. When facing danger, everyone went their separate ways. Who cares about the survival of the wild wolf group? After all, it's just to make a living. The most interesting thing is that after the military advisor left the wild wolf's room, someone else sneaked over and wanted to pick up a loophole. As a result, everyone searched in vain. Then, they kicked the wild wolf a few times to vent their anger. Poor wild wolf, he was glorious in life, but miserable after death. His face was swollen from being kicked. However, this situation did not last long. Not long after, the fire spread to the two-story villa where the leader of the wild wolf group lived. Soon, the flames engulfed the wild wolf. At this time, Chen Dong and Tian Xiaoyu were standing on a commanding height not far away, watching the wild wolf group's base being engulfed by the fire. Tian Xiaoyu had taken off his combat uniform as a reward for Chen Dong's rescue at the risk of his life, and completed the transaction. Watching the fire burning, Tian Xiaoyu suddenly remembered the story of the fire burning the camp. The current wild wolf group base is exactly the same. At this time, Tian Xiaoyu suddenly thought of something, exclaimed, and turned to look at Chen Dong. Chen Dong, the supplies of the wild wolf group were burned by the fire. Isn't it a waste? Chen Dong was still looking at the direction of the fire on the wild wolf group's side. Hearing Tian Xiaoyu's question, he retracted his gaze and laughed. Nothing is wasted. The people under the wild wolf group are ridiculously poor. The real wealth is monopolized by the wild wolf. I just killed the wild wolf, and his supplies are in my hands. You can say that killing him is basically the same as plundering the wild wolf group. After hearing this, Tian Xiaoyu's expression was a little amused. Okay, I thought you came directly to save me, but I didn't expect that you went to kill the wild wolf and grab the supplies first. Oh, sad. Chen Dong knew that Tian Xiaoyu was joking, but he still didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and made a wronged expression. I have to find your location first, find the wild wolf first, but in order to find you. Tian Xiaoyu snorted a few times. I didn't expect you to be able to pretend to be a little milk dog. Okay, I lost, I have goosebumps. Chen Dong laughed and patted Tian Xiaoyu on the shoulder. Who told you to squeeze me just now? I'm conquering the enemy without fighting. Do you know how powerful I am now? Tian Xiaoyu was a little nervous by this sudden action and subconsciously shrank her shoulders. Chen Dong was embarrassed for a moment, and then he remembered that Tian Xiaoyu was a girl. By the way, you said you got the supplies of the wild wolf just now. Are there any rare supplies? As a leader of a not-so-small force, there should be a lot of good things, right? Chen Dong shook his head, a little helpless. The wild wolf group is a model of gold and jade on the outside, but rotten inside. The wild wolf is a big boss. Not only does he not have hot weapons, but there are not many things in his backpack except for some daily supplies. Tian Xiaoyu was speechless after hearing this. She didn't know how to respond to the Versailles that Chen Dong inadvertently revealed. You know, in the current doomsday world, there are still many people who can't eat enough. A person who can have more daily supplies, such as water, bread, milk, etc., is a very powerful character. As a result, this kind of character became a straw basket in Chen Dong's mouth. Tian Xiaoyu pursed her lips and could only ask, you just said that there are not many things that can be shown, which means that there are some rare materials that can be shown. Chen Dong nodded and took out two things from his backpack: astronomical telescope, primary underground fortress construction drawings. Chen Dong actually felt that these were not useful things. Astronomical telescope. In the current environment, do you still have the mind to see the stars? At least Chen Dong didn't. Moreover, he couldn't understand it. As for the construction drawings of the primary underground fortress, Chen Dong felt that it was very useless. After all, he already has a wall and a villa. Who would hide in an underground fortress for no reason? It's dark and dark. These two things are rare materials. This is the first time I've seen an astronomical telescope. As for the primary underground fortress blueprint, it is an upgraded construction blueprint. Referring to my automatic defense armament system, this underground fortress has great potential. However, now I don't know what help they can bring to me. I feel like they are just used as decorations for emergencies. Huh. Astronomical telescope. When Tian Xiaoyu saw the astronomical telescope, she suddenly became interested. Chen Dong then remembered that Tian Xiaoyu seemed to have organized an astronomy club in college and invited himself to join, but how could he, a child from a poor family, understand astronomy? In his inherent impression, this is a hobby for rich people. Looking at Tian Xiaoyu's happy face, Chen Dong smiled and said, I almost forgot that you are the president of the astronomy club. If you like this astronomical telescope, I'll give it to you. Chapter 59. Two women meet, disaster befalls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian Xiaoyu has liked watching stars since she was a child. When she was 6 years old, her family gave her an astronomical telescope as a birthday gift. From that time on, she began to study the mysterious starry sky and learn to read stars. Tian Xiaoyu was surprised and a little embarrassed when she heard Chen Dong's words. After all, the value of an astronomical telescope is not low. It's too expensive, I can't have it. Chen Dong smiled indifferently. What are we being polite about? It's just an astronomical telescope. Tian Xiaoyu looked at Chen Dong's nonchalant look and explained, Chen Dong, this is a fever-level astronomical telescope, at least hundreds of thousands, I would say lower. Chen Dong was stunned. Sure enough, poverty limited his imagination. He thought, even if the telescope is expensive, it only costs a few thousand yuan. Unexpectedly, hundreds of thousands was still on the low side, but he didn't care, and laughed and said, Xiaoyu, I don't care how much it's worth. Anyway, this thing is just a pile of scrap metal in my hands. Only in your hands can it shine and heat better. Besides, in the apocalyptic world, you should not use the previous price as an excuse. I guess now, it would be difficult to replace this astronomical telescope with 10 kilograms of rice. You don't have to feel bad, just keep it. Then I'll accept it, thanks. Tian Xiaoyu put away the astronomical telescope and said nothing more. This is enough, any more will be irrelevant. As for the underground fortress blueprint, Chen Dong was asked to take back his backpack. He and Tian Xiaoyu also discussed it and both felt that the underground fortress might not be used temporarily. I can only keep it for now. The flames in the Wild Wolf Group's stronghold were fueled by gasoline. Without a fire extinguisher, it is difficult to put it out. Chen Dong watched as the Wild Wolf Group's stronghold gradually became charred and black, and he stopped lingering and took out the car. After starting the car, he asked Tian Xiaoyu to get in the car. Xiaoyu, the villa area where our shelter is located is quite far from here. If you are sleepy, you can lie down and rest in the car. I will wake you up when we get there. Tian Xiaoyu shook his head. Don't sleep. I've been dizzy all day. How can I sleep? You drive and I'll chat with you. Let's talk about what you have been doing in the past 2 years. Chen Dong laughed. Okay, I haven't seen my old classmates in 2 years, so it's time to catch up. Then fasten your seatbelts and chat while we drive. Chen Dong successfully brought Tian Xiaoyu back, and the two of them chatted and laughed and headed back towards the villa area. Tian Xiaoyu came to Chen Dong's shelter for the first time. The towering ramparts and walls outside did not shock her, the automatic defense weapon system did not scare her either, until she walked into the villa and saw a woman with hair in a bun whose appearance and temperament were not inferior to hers. She walked out of the yard wearing casual clothes like the hostess and came to greet her and Chen Dong. Chen Dong stepped forward and hugged Xia Anqi, kissed his forehead, and asked softly, Do you miss me? Xia Anqi smiled and said, When did I miss you? Chen Dong laughed. Tian Xiaoyu followed, walking in front of the two of them with a slightly unnatural expression. Xiaoyu, let me introduce to you. This is Xia Anqi, the doctor of our team and my girlfriend. Anqi, this is Tian. Then, when Chen Dong was about to introduce Tian Xiaoyu to Xia Anqi, he was interrupted by Tian Xiaoyu. She smiled and stretched out her hand to Xia Anqi and said, Hello, I am Tian Xiaoyu, Chen Dong's classmate. Nice to meet you. The two shook hands. Xia Anqi also smiled and said, Chen Dong often mentioned you before, you are indeed very beautiful. Whenever you have time, tell me more about Chen Dong's dirty stuff in college, and treat him well in the future. Okay, I still know a little about Chen Dong's embarrassing things. While the two women were chatting and laughing, they linked arms and walked into the villa together. Leave Chen Dong alone outside the yard. Chen Dong felt like he was dreaming. When Tian Xiaoyu and Xia Anqi first met, he even felt a sense of tension, but in the blink of an eye, the two of them were holding hands and hanging outside the villa yard. Chen Dong looked a little strange, but he was more happy. The two of them could get along so quickly and save a lot of trouble in the next few days. As Tian Xiaoyu moved in, Chen Dong was rushed to another room by Xia Anqi, taking the quilt with him. Chen Dong was a little puzzled, but in the end he only got one sentence from Xia Anqi: "There are many rooms at home, so let's live separately." Chen Dong expressed his grievance. In the past, Xia Anqi was always clinging to him, and sometimes she would wake him up when he was sleeping. As a result, Tian Xiaoyu immediately kicked him out of the room when he arrived. However, Chen Dong still did it, clean up a new room and live there. In the next few days, Chen Dong did not go out to collect supplies, but stayed at home with the two women. It was quite pleasant to wake up in the morning, eat breakfast made by Xia Anqi, and chat with Tian Xiaoyu about the past, but this comfort was soon broken. "Xiaoyu, can you guarantee that what you said is absolutely true?" Chen Dong looked at Tian Xiaoyu with a serious face, somewhat unable to believe the horrific remarks Tian Xiaoyu said just now. Tian Xiaoyu nodded and promised word for word, "It's absolutely true, this will be a disaster." Chapter 60 Meteor Shower, Buy in Advance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A cloudless, starry night, just like the previous nights, Tian Xiaoyu took out the astronomical telescope given to her by Chen Dong and enjoyed the hard-won moment of observing astronomy. Unfortunately, neither the blue star nor the familiar galaxies can be seen. Today is an excellent environment for observing stars. Tian Xiaoyu was observing and suddenly saw an unusual trajectory. She was in disbelief, rubbing his eyes. He got close to the astronomical telescope again and discovered to his horror that it was not an illusion. Swarms of meteorites are pulling the broom tail and falling towards the doomsday world. If nothing else happens, it is expected to arrive next month. Therefore, Tian Xiaoyu didn't care too much and quickly woke up Chen Dong and Xia Anqi, who had fallen asleep in the middle of the night, and told them this desperate fact. Chen Dong put his hand on his chin and fell into deep thought. "Xiaoyu, how many are there in this meteorite group? If it falls on the ground, what level of damage will it cause?" Tian Xiaoyu thought for a moment, then said without hesitation, "Destruction. In addition to destruction, it is destruction. It will destroy the ecological environment, and the trees will wither. It will damage the ground and make pits. The bottom line is, for the survivors, it's a disaster." Chen Dong tapped his fingers on the armrest of the sofa beside him and murmured, "The underground fortress construction drawings I obtained before are actually useful. However, construction materials are a bit difficult to obtain. Underground fortress, in a catastrophe like the meteorite rain, it was just enough for them to get through the predicament safely. However, this underground fortress requires a special material that has never been seen before, S-alloy. Chen Dong has collected so many supplies, and this is the first time he has heard of it. But if you want to build an underground fortress, S-alloy is essential." Chen Dong was a little happy and a little worried. Tian Xiaoyu didn't know the construction materials needed for the underground fortress, so he was very excited. "Chen Dong, the underground fortress construction drawing we obtained from the Wild Wolf Regiment has come in handy. As long as we build the underground fortress and prepare sufficient living supplies, we can safely survive this meteorite rain." Xia Anqi also looked at Chen Dong expectantly. Chen Dong shook his head and explained with a wry smile, "If this underground fortress could be built so easily, I wouldn't have a headache. I'll show you the drawings, and you can see what construction materials are needed." Chen Dong said as he took out the underground fortress construction drawings from his backpack and handed them to Xia Anqi and Tian Xiaoyu. The two of them took over the construction drawings of the underground fortress and both frowned in unison. "What is this S-alloy? I've never heard of it." Chen Dong spread his hands helplessly. "Yes, it's this special S-alloy. We've never heard of it, and we don't know what it looks like." Xia Anqi murmured, "It seems that during this period, we have to go out and desperately collect supplies. collect that S-alloy, so as to gain a chance of survival. Tian Xiaoyu suddenly said, "How about we go to the trading platform and have a look? Maybe someone will hang on it." "It's hard to say." Chen Dong could only go to the trading platform to check with the attitude of giving it a try. Unexpectedly, there is really S-alloy. Prices vary, some are cheap and some are expensive. The reason why the prices are so inconsistent is entirely because there are no merchants to take over the orders. The scattered S-alloys were collected by individual survivors by chance. Since there is no reference price, the prices are quite random. As for many businessmen, they have naturally seen the emergence of S-alloy. Some of them want to take action, seize share, and raise prices in the future. However, S-alloy has no clear use introduction. If S-alloy will be produced in large quantities in the future or its uses are not widely used, whether it can maintain capital is a question, so, everyone is waiting and watching. Chen Dong clicked on the chat channel and found that someone was already discussing the use of S-alloy, apparently. Many survivors got this thing. Chen Dong felt a little itchy. He has never even seen the hair of S-alloy. Number 453493. Brothers, 2 pieces of S-alloy were found in the supplies I searched just now. What is this thing for? There is no explanation. Mission materials. Number 454756. I also collected it, but I really don't know what the use of this thing is. The material is hard. I wanted to use it to make a shield, but it turned out that there was no way to process it. Number 967969. Hahaha. You think you are that muscular man in tights and making a shield? I don't think this S-alloy is made for us to make equipment. Could it be a battle armor? Number 223954, you are more outrageous than the other. You can't even do rough machining of a shield, so you still want a battle armor. In my opinion, there may be something that needs to be made of S-alloy. Seeing this person's remarks, Chen Dong also secretly admired him. This is indeed the case. If there is a meteor shower later, an underground fortress is a must for survivors. Then, S-alloy, a necessity for building underground fortresses, will be a must-have for tens of thousands of people. When the price skyrockets, it will only happen in an instant. Number 957565. So, is there anything that needs S-alloy to make? I don't know. Number 754534, that's right, this S-alloy is useless now. I originally wanted to buy some on the trading platform and become a dealer in the future, but now I don't dare to do it. I'm afraid that I will lose my money. By then, I don't have to wait for zombies to eat me, I will starve to death. Number 948292, I put S-alloy on the shelf for a kilogram of rice, come and buy it, huh. Number 752534, get lost. Many people put the price for a bottle of water or a piece of bread, but no one is interested. If you put it at this price, you will really wait for the sucker to buy it. On the chat channel, many survivors talked a lot, although some people are very close to the truth and want to guess the purpose of S-alloy. However, most survivors still think that S-alloy is useless. It was at this time that Chen Dong smiled undisguisedly and started to make a move, quickly buy S-alloy in large quantities from high to low prices on the trading platform. In fact, because he was worried that the survivors might raise the price temporarily after they reacted, Chen Dong specially took out sufficient supplies and gave them to Xia Anqi and Tian Xiaoyu, asking them to join the rush to buy. The 3 of them started to buy happily. Chen Dong did not touch the S-alloy that was very expensive and inflated at the auction. It was not that he could not afford it, he just didn't want to cause the price of S-alloy to rise too fast and get out of control. Although the current behavior has inevitably caused a chain reaction and caused the price of S-alloy to rise, but he was very restrained. He did not clear out the trading platform, but controlled it at a price that he thought was more cost-effective, and pocketed all the S-alloy below this price.